Thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Keeping It Real with America's Supermom. I'm excited to have my next guest all the way over the waters in the UK, right? Is that where you're at, Agnes?
That's correct.
Awesome. So we got connected through a networking group. I believe it was through Global Women. Is that
That's
right?
that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
It's been
Okay.
so long. We've been on Zoom calls and we've collaborated on different things in the past. It's been a long time. We've been trying to get to this interview. So we're excited to be here today. But before we get into some great conversation, I want to give Agnes the opportunity to introduce herself.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Agnes George, and I'm from the Caribbean, but I live in London. I'm a speaker,
Mhm.
and a coach, and I'm also an author. My background is in teaching, nursing, and midwifery.
Mm,
I speak on the prevention of type 2 diabetes.
mhm,
The reason why I have chosen that subject is because I have seen, the devastation that diabetes has caused to people during my, during my work, and
mhm,
also to friends,
mm,
friends and relative.
mhm.
And
Now, go ahead. I didn't mean to
yes,
interrupt.
and with my background, I see type 2 diabetes. It's something that is preventable. I mean,
Mhm.
research tells us that it is preventable. So I don't see the reason why that people should die as a consequence of type 2 diabetes.
Mhm. Mhm.
If they have taken the steps
Yeah.
to keep them healthy. Hence
Mhm.
the reason why I am so passionate about the subject.
Yeah, I love that. Now, so, I love the fact that it could be preventable. I kind of feel that same way about depression. I mean, after
Uh,
my journey, I'm like, hey, let me give you some insights, some strategies so that you don't have to go down that path. But what are some things that you think we just are just doing wrong? A easy thing that we can start implementing to kind of combat, the effects of type 2 diabetes.
it's the main problem is to do with lifestyle.
Mm,
You know,
mhm,
if people change their lifestyle and eat healthy
mhm,
and exercise more,
mhm,
you know, then they they will not step into that problem. And also I feel that because it's the fast pace that people are working. I mean, now
mhm,
we're under lockdown,
mhm,
which is not helping because it means that people are at home
mhm,
and in a way they are immobile.
mm,
All right. So, and because of the restriction placed on the lockdown right now, um, it is limited what people can do. But also because it's limited what people can do, they are not as free to go out, you know,
mhm,
to run, to walk, to exercise, to go to the gym and all that. But you
mhm,
don't need to go to the gym to exercise.
mhm,
You can exercise at home,
mhm,
you know, because you don't have to really pay for expensive gym membership to be healthy, to
mhm,
have your daily exercise.
mhm.
You know, if you everyone drinks bottled water, which is not the best water. The best water is tap water.
Okay.
But most people will have 1.5 liters of empty bottles in the house. So all
Mhm.
they need to do is to fill that up with water and use that to do the exercise.
Oh.
So
Mhm,
because you have this weight, you can use that for doing your exercise.
mhm,
And most people have, two-level house, then walking up and down the stairs. that
Mhm.
helps. It keeps you fit and healthy.
Mhm.
It helps your limbs, and it also strengthens your muscles. So
Mhm.
there are basic things that one can do. If you have a garden, you go out and you do the gardening.
Mhm.
There are lots of things that one can do. The people who live a sedentary lifestyle, it means that you sat in front of the computer for a very long time,
Mhm.
maybe 12 hours. And now with the lockdown, most people are sitting in front of the computer for longer than that.
Mhm.
And then you can get up and stretch yourself, and have a little stretch,
Mhm.
and do a little exercise and move your body around, and walk up and down the stairs or walk around the room.
Mhm.
So that also helps you, to maintain your fitness.
I love
So
that.
yeah, so there are quite a lot of basic things that, one can do to remain healthy.
Right. And I think one of the things that I definitely can agree about the food, okay? But one of the things that happens for me, I think I had a stepbrother who was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and he was like in his late 30s. He ended up passing away um, on his 40th birthday. But you are totally in this space of thinking that you just can't eat anything that you've been raised for years to believe is good for you. It's like part of culture. You got traditions. So, what is a easy way that people can kind of start that journey to transition into better eating? Because just because you ate it as a comfort food when you were younger doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing for you if you're battling something like, diabetes or something.
Cut down on the processed foods,
Mm.
because the processed foods is not good for you.
Mhm.
It's all these saturated fats in there. It's not good for you. The
Mhm.
good fat are things like avocado. Avocado has
Mhm.
got good healthy fats. So it's all,
Mhm.
should have an avocado.
Mhm.
Yeah. So there are lots of things that one can refrain from to keep healthy.
Mhm.
Now, when you go to the supermarket, cut down on don't buy the processed foods, because the processed foods is not serving you.
Mhm.
Don't eat things that have got added sugar on
Mm.
it. It looks pretty, but it is not healthy.
Right.
It's not healthy, because the body cannot cope with all this fat. To
Mhm.
get rid of the fat. You think of fat. You put fat in a bowl of water. What happens?
Yeah, it just sits there.
That's right. So the more fat you eat, it is more accumulation you have, and that's not serving you. Because then you find
Mhm.
that, the people who eat so much fat, it goes down into their tummy. So
Mhm.
look at some, people around, like some men. You look at them, they look as though they're like 9 months pregnant, because they've got this
Mhm.
arc of belly in front of them. So
I see.
it's all this fat in there. So
Mhm.
that's not really serving them. And
Mhm.
research has shown that, you know, this sort of belly fat causes some type of cancers.
Mm.
So it really is not good.
Mhm.
It's not good for us.
Mhm.
And then, the other thing that really um, make me sit up and look at the research that's happening today, it's the young children.
Mhm.
The proportion of children that are obese,
Mhm.
obesity in children, it's increasing.
Mhm.
And that's not good for the
Mhm.
children, because
Mhm.
it's not healthy.
Mhm.
Most children should be encouraged to exercise, and lots of children do not exercise. I know, people who have children, and the school is not that far. Some of the children can walk to the school,
Right.
but mommy and daddy will pick them up, take them from home and drop them
Mhm.
to school. So they are being picked up in school, taken to school, so they don't have any exercise. So
Mhm.
when they come home, what do? They sit at home. What do they have? They have the iPad or the mobile phone, and all they do is on the phone.
Mhm.
So they are not exercising. The only thing they exercising is their fingers. That's all.
Right.
But they are not getting much exercise at all.
Yeah. So true. I mean, I remember the days where, when we were younger, you had to play outside until the street lights came on. You didn't have the time of being in the house and the door was locked. You couldn't go running in and out. When you had to be outside, you stayed outside until the street lights came on. And then it was time to come inside. So, definitely that whole thing about being active outside is kind of like non existent because we have so many toys and things that occupy the children inside that they a lot of times don't even have the desire to go out there to do anything.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
and and then the children more communicative then, because they
Mhm.
speak more to the friends. They're
Mhm.
active and they are in conversation.
Mhm.
But children now, very rarely they talk. They
Right.
talk on the phone, on the mobile phone. That's the
Right.
type of conversation they have on the mobile
Mhm.
phone.
Mhm.
You know?
So true. Now, so when it comes to like, getting rid of the processed foods, is there like a, guideline of how often we should be eating, you know, um, what that type of routine should be? Because for some people that are watching, this is just like a foreign language for them because, they've always been able to quote unquote eat what they wanted to, but then as they age, things start changing, whether it is being susceptible to certain diseases or their energy level changing, or they could eat anything they wanted when they were younger and never gain a pound, and now they're gaining weight, that type of thing. So, for somebody who is kind of fresh and new, what suggestion would you have about once you cut out these processed foods, how often you should be eating, that type of thing?
Well, eating, one should have the normal meals. You have breakfast, you have lunch, you have
Hmm.
tea, you have dinner, whatever. But for breakfast, I mean, it's much better to have something like cereal. When I say cereal, I don't mean like the sugar coated cereal with the cocoa
Hmm.
pops, and because that's have lots of sugar in it.
Hmm.
But you can have cereal that has all the sort of nutrients in it.
Mm,
Um, so you have things like oats in it. You
mhm,
have berries. Things that have
mhm,
all the berries in it.
mhm,
Um, so that's very good because it's easily digestible and it keeps you
mm,
full.
mhm,
And try not to have too much um sort of yogurty stuff. You know,
mhm,
stay away from too much of this yogurt, and try to have things like, for milk, try to have um almond milk or
mhm,
semi-skimmed milk with your
mhm,
breakfast. And for people who like to have like fried eggs, um
mhm,
there's too much fat in the frying of the eggs. So if
mm,
you're going to be frying an egg, then you should try and refrain like pouring the oil into the pot. You
mm,
should just pour like a teaspoon of oil in the pot. So let the pot nice and hot, and you put your eggs in it because egg doesn't take that long to cook.
mm,
And then with that 1 teaspoon of oil, you can fry your egg, so you don't have too much, of the fat
mhm.
flowing from the eggs.
Yeah.
Well, it's all to do with habit
Mhm,
and to cooking healthily.
mhm,
And you know Also, for having a meal, try and have the five a day. Like the government in this country, you have to have your fruits and your
Mhm.
vegetables, and try to have more veg on your plate than meat and all the carbs.
Mhm.
And it's advisable that you do not eat too much meat. So beef is not very healthy for us. So if you're
Mhm.
going to have meat, maybe to have meat twice a week, but to have fish.
Mhm.
And it's advisable to have the oily fish. Fish like mackerels, sardines, um, salmon. So this is all
Mhm.
healthy fish
I
that
see.
one can eat. It's healthy. And then you have with your greens, you have your iron from your greens, and you have vitamins from your greens. But
Mhm.
when cooking the vegetables, it's absolutely imperative that you do not kill it. When I say kill it, is that you don't cook it, overcook it so it's all soggy. So vegetables should be steamed.
Mm.
So by steaming the vegetable, it maintains all the nutrients. So you get that
Mm.
nutrients. But then
Mhm.
if you overcook it, it's all, you know, it's all dead. In other words, you're having something that is not really giving you any nutrients because you've killed all the nutrients from it.
Mm. That's good stuff.
You know,
Yeah.
and if possible, like have it green.
Mhm.
Things like spinach. You can have a handful of spinach in your lettuce.
Mhm.
And you know and some days you can just have a salad for lunch.
Mhm.
Because salad does not mean all green leaves.
Right.
You can have you know 3 bean salad, so at least you have some peas. You're getting
Mhm.
some roughage and stuff from all that.
Mhm.
And then you can have a handful of um, lettuce mixed with
Mhm.
some spinach. You get your iron from your spinach. So, there are lots of ways that you can make up a meal that looks presentable.
Mhm.
Because people don't like, it's not encouraging to eat something that looks bland because, you put different colors um, of the peppers,
I see.
red, green, yellow peppers. Then
Mhm.
you have your lettuce and you put some spinach on there. So then when you look at it, it looks pretty
Right.
and enticing and saying to you, eat me. And then with
Mhm.
that, you can have your grilled fish
Mhm.
or salmon or whatever.
Mhm.
Or, if you want to have eggs, boiled egg,
Mhm.
because you get protein from the eggs.
I
So,
love that.
so there are different ways of cooking and preparing the food.
Mhm.
Preparation is important
Yeah.
um, because going out to eat, we don't know how the food is cooked,
Yeah.
how it's prepared, what type of oil is being used for the salad and the stuff. Because
That.
if you're going to have sort of oil for your salad, then it's advisable to have virgin oil, virgin olive
Mhm.
oil.
Mhm.
And then you can have a piece of lemon and you can squeeze the lemon with the oil and you can
Mhm.
mix that.
Mhm.
So that gives it a nice flavor.
Mhm.
Or if you don't want to use the lemon, you could use mustard.
Mm.
And also that gives it a nice flavor so you can mix it all up and then you
Mhm.
can have your salad. And then
Mhm.
if you're going to like do your coleslaw, because with the coleslaw when you eat it outside, you don't know how it's made. You can
Yeah.
make it yourself. You can buy the already grated stuff and you can
Right.
make your
Yeah, in the
coleslaw yourself.
package. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you can have your mayo, but then you have the mayo that don't have all, you know
Of the fat and all
all
that
the
stuff.
fat and stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are times, you'll buy things and they would say that it's not, it doesn't have all this fat in it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you read the label, it has all the different types of fat
Mm-hmm.
that the way it's written, if you're not sure what you're reading, you will
Mm-hmm.
think that you're having something that is natural, but you're not.
So true.
Because, for example, sugar is expressed on the paper like lactose or glucose or whatever. It is
Mm-hmm.
still sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I believe it's anything with oats is a sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Now, what are some things that you do that kind of help you maintain your, foundation of recognizing that I do have to exercise, I do have to eat better? What are some things you do in your regular routine that allow for you to be successful with that?
Well, my regular routine, I wake up in the morning, I have a glass of water with
Mm-hmm.
just a piece of lemon in it. Like I'm sitting here, and if I'm thirsty, there you are. I have my lemon and my
Mm-hmm.
water.
Mm-hmm.
So you can drink your lemon with water, or you can put things like cucumber slice in it,
Mm-hmm.
because cucumber is also very cooling. And
Mm-hmm.
then I have my cereal, but then I have my cereal um like porridge, because porridge is very good for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I have my porridge, and I have my porridge with almond milk or with oat milk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got some oat milk. We just tried that
Yeah.
here recently. So it to me it tastes really rich, kind of like, I was a milk drinker for so many years until we switched over to almond milk, and
Mm.
I don't even know what would happen if I drank milk now because I felt like I couldn't do without it. But I just love the richness of extra flavor with the almond milk, oat milk. We've even had soy milk in the past too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So because that's very good and
Mm-hmm.
healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And for eggs, not many people like to the yolk of the egg. Also, some people with some conditions, they cannot tolerate the yolk of the egg. So you can have
Oh
the
yeah.
the white of the egg. You know.
Yeah.
I,
We have egg whites. They
yeah,
have them on menus now where they
yeah, yeah.
serve. Yeah.
It is on menu, so you can buy it also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they can have egg white bites. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really, it's quite healthy, and it's really quite nutritious.
Mm-hmm.
And and then you have your tea, or um your, well, most people will say don't have too much coffee, but some people, they need the caffeine.
Right.
so,
So true.
um so you can have your coffee, but
Mm-hmm.
also it is important to keep yourself hydrated,
Mm.
because
Good one.
sometimes people are so busy during the day that they forget to drink.
So true.
And it all depends on the type of job that you do.
Mm.
uh, you don't have the time, because I
Mhm.
know as a midwife, when you are running a labor board,
Mhm.
by the time when you make sure you have a proper breakfast before you leave your
Mhm.
house, because when you get there, anything can happen.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything can happen. It's have emergency, emergency, emergency. You find that you get there, and by the time you finish taking the report, that's it. You're on your
Right.
feet all day time. You don't have time for lunch, because emergency comes in. That's the priority to save lives. So
Mhm.
you don't have time to eat. So you can go through the whole day by not
Right.
having anything to eat.
And making, major decisions. It's crazy. I've been there, done that. And
Yeah,
I think so often if you don't create time for something or schedule it,
It won't
Other
happen.
things will fill in that pocket of
Exactly.
time before you know it. It's like, oh, I'm not going to forget to eat, but how often are you engaged in work
Mm,
and somebody else's emergency? So I get that.
yeah.
Um,
So you have to delegate and make sure that you
mhm,
keep yourself hydrated because you have to be fit for purpose.
mhm,
You know how, because if you don't eat, your judgment will not be very good. You need to have something in your stomach. You need to eat and to be ready for
mhm.
whatever is going to come through the door. So it's important to eat and eat healthy.
So true.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds like a lot of this is related to mindset, really
Yes.
getting your mind in tune to these things. So, what are some things that have really helped you with your mindset? Be it a book, podcast, what is it that really kind of got you on track to be able to move forward and to help others like you're doing? All right. It looks like we might be frozen on that side. This just happened to be. There you go. I was about to just start talking, and that happened to me last night. I was on an interview and the host froze. So I just had to keep talking until she came back on. So you got to be ready for anything when, keeping it real. That's why I love this title,
Well,
because
yes,
in
of
my
course.
life, no telling what's going to happen. So I don't know if you got the question, but it was like, what kind of things do you do for your mindset that help you to make this adjustment? Whether it's books or podcasts, what would you tell the audience to do to kind of help with that?
To 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 help for me, what I do say to myself is love yourself first.
Mm,
Because if you do not love yourself, feed yourself, keep yourself well,
mm-hmm,
then who is going to do it for you?
mm-hmm,
So you have to treat your body well. It
mm-hmm,
doesn't matter how much book you read, how much, mindset lectures you listen to. You have to think of you.
mm-hmm.
So it's like when you're flying on a plane, there's an emergency, they said to put the mask on your face first.
Yes,
Because if you don't have that oxygen in you, you cannot help anybody else.
so
So
true.
put your mask on first and then help the people around you.
Love that.
Yeah.
And what's the best way for the audience to get a hold of you?
They can find me on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
Agnes George,
Mm-hmm.
and I am on Facebook. And also, if they want to have a discovery call with me,
Mm-hmm.
I they can find me on my website,
Okay.
agnesgeorge.c.sanitydesk.com.
Okay.
So they can find me there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then what final thoughts would you like to share with the audience? You've given us so many nuggets. The main thing I believe is just, we have to be proactive with our health. A lot of times we just believe that we're going to stay in good shape and we don't really have to watch what we eat. That stuff really doesn't matter. But you've shown us that it's these little small adjustments that we can make to kind of get us on the right path on where we need to be, because it is something that we need to be more proactive that rather than reactive with.
Yeah. But the important thing is to look after yourself, to look after
Mhm.
ourselves, because as we get older,
Mhm.
most people slow down. But when retire, you are not that busy. You have more time on your hands. So therefore,
Mhm.
you spend more time sitting around,
Mhm.
and not doing much. And what
Mhm.
happens if you do not do much? Then you put on the weight. And
Mm.
it's very easy also to keep snacking.
Mhm.
To keep healthy, it's important that when you do the shopping, Shop for healthy things only.
Mm.
Don't buy all the sugar coated stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one can have sweet, but when you're eating those things, eat in moderation
Mm-hmm.
and don't fill up your plate and go back for seconds.
Mm. That's a big one.
And then have your vegetables. Vegetables are very important. Have your
Mm-hmm.
five vegetables. So, you know, you divide your plate. You have your different types of vegetables. But when you're cooking your vegetables, don't cook it in fat because that's not good because you're not going to
Mm-hmm.
be able to absorb that fat. Because the
Mm-hmm.
more fat you put in is it's 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 not helping you because this is what happens when you get all your bad cholesterol, which will
Mm-hmm.
create medical problems with high blood pressure, heart conditions, and all this sort of thing. So
So
you have
true.
to be mindful of what you eat, you know
Yep.
and
Great word.
you don't have to spend a lot of money to eat
Mm-hmm.
healthily. You go
Mm-hmm.
to the market and you buy your vegetable, but it's the way it is cooked.
So true.
That's the important thing. It's the way it is cooked.
Well, I think this has just been so empowering because I think a lot of people think, of it's just so hard, but these are practical ways that you can start that journey to implement. I mean, just from, hey, just don't get seconds, okay? Or I know for me, it's like, don't even bring the cookies in the house. I know you might want a cookie every now and then, but if you just make it where it's a challenge, you will find something else. I know when I have a sweet tooth, I'll go for an apple or strawberries or something. But if I don't
Yeah,
have that option around, I'm going to just automatically think sweet is having ice cream or having a cookie, having
yeah,
cake. But the more you start taking those things out of your diet, you'll get satisfied with an apple, some
yeah,
grapes, or something that can provide that sweetness without,
yeah.
those negative side
Because
effects.
because with the comfort eating, one tends to eat more
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because your taste bud is telling you this is wonderful. I want
So
more.
true. Yeah.
So
I mean,
if you have it occasionally, that's fine.
yeah.
Okay.
That's a great
Occasionally is
lesson. I
fine.
mean, that's like somebody who, gets the whole bag of chips. Oh, I'm just gonna get a couple. You look up and you ate the whole bag.
It's gone.
Yes.
The chip's gone. So you just
Mm-hmm.
have to. It's really having the right mindset and willpower.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, if you don't have it in the house, then you will not
Mm-hmm.
be eating it.
So true.
You know,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
the important things. I mean, one can have treats. It doesn't mean that you cannot have treats, but
Mm-hmm.
don't make it a habit because when you
Yes.
do, you'll find that it is very, very difficult to control yourself because it's there. You feel moreish, you go and have more, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're just stocking up all this fat and which is not serving you.
Yeah. So
And the
true.
same for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Kids do need to have their little treats, but not too much
Mm-hmm.
of it.
So true.
So if you don't have it in the cupboard, they will not go and help themselves
Yeah.
because you find if it's there, they will help themselves. And when the food comes, because they're full, they will not eat the
Mm-hmm.
food that is nutritious for them
Yeah.
because they're full with
So
all
true.
this bad carbs and all this sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what I would like to say is that sugar is not your friend.
Mm-hmm.
So stay away from all the sugary stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
don't eat things that are sugar coated.
Yeah. So true.
Be very
Great.
mindful about sugar coated foods because
Mm-hmm.
it's not helping you at
Very
all.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great points. Well, this has just been wonderful, Agnes. I sure appreciate it. And I'm so glad that we finally were able to get together. You are one busy lady, and I know that I've been busy as well, but it is always a pleasure to be in your company and wishing you much success in all that you do. For those of you watching, I encourage you to reach out to Agnes. I mean, a lot of these insights are so practical and great ways that you can kind of start that journey to living a better life based on the choices that you decide to make. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and we'll make sure that Agnes gets those and answers them for you. But in the meantime, we just want to say thank you so much for spending some time with us as we talked about ways that we can be healthy. So we want to thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Thank you for listening. Thank you, sir.